Hello there, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Rule the Waves 2, playing as Britain. We are currently on episode 7, and we have just gone to war against France. So all of our ships have been called up to active duty, except for our foreign station cruisers. And we have quite a bit to do. So first things first, let's put all of our corvettes on trade protection. We'll start getting some protection there against raiders. The destroyers are looking pretty good. No need to do anything with those. Oh my, so many destroyers. Do you think I built enough? How many destroyers do I even have? Ooh, 64? I don't think that's enough. Gotta have more. Alright, and our cruisers are doing okay. And this should be the first war where we actually have some more modern ships. In this case, the major ship is going to be the Barflor class semi-dreadnoughts. So they're rocking the standard pre-dreadnought armament of two twin 12-inch turrets, but they also have a collection of very heavy secondary turrets, as we can see from these 12 8-inch guns. So that is a significant step up in terms of secondary battery firepower. These ships should be able to do a whole lot more damage to the enemy once we get close. We also have some heavy armored cruisers in the form of the Hood class. So let's take a quick look at those. These are very clearly inspired by the last generation of armored cruisers that most nations designed, right up until the British built their actual battle cruisers. So this will be taken out by any proper capital ship. But until then, it can handle any armored cruiser that is currently on the water. We also have plenty of Intrepid and Hermione class cruisers. Unfortunately, Hermione are struggling to meet their design speed, so they're only 21 knots instead of their design of 22. That is a very rare failure in British naval design there, so I'm very disappointed by that. But they should still be useful for patrol and fleet escort duties. Let's take a quick check at our ammunition doctrine. So, because we have received a number of upgrades to our armor penetration and high explosive shells, we definitely do want to be slinging at least some armor piercing shells at the enemy when we get close range. At the longer ranges, we still can't penetrate their armor, so we're better off slinging high explosive. So if we're firing at close range, we will want to be slinging armor piercing. Yep, all that looks good. Alright, armored cruisers. Yeah, that also looks good. We probably could be slinging AP against them as well at longer range for these larger calibers, but it's just not quite up there. And then against light cruisers, yeah, they don't have the sort of protection necessary to protect against armor piercing, so 2-inch, 3-inch armor, yeah, we can go through that pretty easily. So we'll sling armor piercing against them. Alright, and let's actually take a quick look at our guns. So our 13-inch guns, we don't actually have any ships with 13-inch guns, and they're not that strong. 12-inch guns, they'll go through up to 9 inches of belt armor. So that'll take out many of the first-generation pre-dreadnoughts on the other side. Let's see about our... Oh, not 9-inch guns I wanted. 10-inch guns. Okay, so at 5,000 yards we can go through 5.5 inches of belt armor. So that'll take out most enemy armored cruisers. Not quite all, but we can always get a little bit closer and then we'll be able to go through those. And then our 9-inch guns for our older cruisers. Yeah, those will go through 5-inch armor, but they won't go through 5.5 or 6-inch belt armor. So not quite strong enough to take on all the armored cruisers out there. Still pretty good. Let's see how our 6-inch guns can do. Yeah, they're still quality -1, and that's hurting quite a bit. We can penetrate 3 inches of belt, and that's it. And of course our 4-inch guns, the only ships that actually have some armor penetration, the smallest guns that actually have armor penetration, sorry, they can go through not quite 2 inches, so they can do some damage to protected cruisers. And of course 3-inch, yep, no penetration. 2-inch, not even on the table. Alright. So ships under construction. We have one last Barfleur class coming out next month. Although it will still take a few months to work up to to full readiness. We also have 2 Camperdown class dreadnoughts. And I call them dreadnoughts, but they barely meet the definition. They just happen to have 3 turrets. They're not proper dreadnoughts. Not what I would call that. They're still, I would still call them semi-dreadnoughts. Let's take a quick look at the map and see where the enemy is. Ah, there we go. Okay. So France obviously has the majority of their fleet in Northern Europe. That's where the main threat is. So they have 13 battleships to my 17, so we obviously have the advantage there. 5 cruisers to my 14, and then we generally outperform them in every other category as well. So we do have a distinct and very solid advantage in Northern Europe. In the Mediterranean, things are not looking quite so good. So France has a battleship, a heavy cruiser, and we only have 3 light cruisers, so that is an issue. We're going to have to send some cruisers over there just to make sure we don't get invaded. That would be very bad, because they currently do have easily more than the 3-to-1 necessary to invade, and I really do not want to lose Malta. That would be a disaster. As far as other stuff, let's see. West Africa. Looks like France has some ships out and about, but I'm not hugely worried about West Africa. South Africa, nothing too much. Indian Ocean, again, we have plenty enough cruisers there already, so I'm not too worried about that. And then Southeast Asia, ooh. They've got multiple battleships there. I do not like that. Alright, so I think I'm going to have to start sending some ships overseas. Alright, so with that in mind, let us send an Anson, a couple of Europas, and a small group of destroyers. And we'll send all of those, here we go, to Southeast Asia. Alright, and we'll send another battleship, a couple of, here we go, and a couple of cruisers, and a couple of light cruisers, and some more destroyers. 1, 2, 3, 4, to the Mediterranean. And that should be enough to maintain our superiority at home, maintain the blockade on France, but also contest things in the Mediterranean, because I do not want any losses in the Med, and I do not want to be invaded in Southeast Asia. Alright, now that those actual serious foreign stations have been assigned, let's move on to our next turn. Ah, a convoy attack. Large battle. Alright, I accept. Haha, the French Navy declines. Typical French. Enemy coastal raid. Battle size medium. I also accept. Ah, it looks like they accepted as well. Alright, we have 1 Europa-class heavy cruiser and some destroyers. And it is Almost 8 o'clock in the morning, bright and early. Got all day to hunt these guys down. Do we have any specific objectives? No. What do we have on our order of battle? Cruisers, destroyers, anything here? Plenty of patrol boats. Plenty of coastal batteries. And merchants. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. 4. What on earth is this? Oh, okay. So it looks like this will be a basic coastal raid. I don't see any particular targets to defend, so we will just go for it and patrol the area where we have all of our cruisers and see what we find. Not a whole lot we can do there, so we'll just go up to fastest available speed. And we'll just patrol back and forth between Plymouth and Portsmouth. Aha! Unknown ship sighted. Alright, let's go investigate. So we will plop on down to medium speed. We'll accelerate to squad max. And we'll see what they are. Oh, this is quite the force here. I see at least one light cruiser. Chasaloop Laubat class? Weird. Well, it's faster than me, but it is significantly smaller, so we can kick the stuffing out of that. Who knows what other ships are... And there's some destroyers up there. That's interesting. So there's 2 groups of French ships, along with possible heavy cruisers. I bet those are light cruisers. 3 groups of ships. One of them has been identified as a TAG class. Well, that's barely even a cruiser. 3,000 tons and only 4 useful guns? Weird. These French are most strange. Well, let's see if we can get into the fight here. Ah, here we go. Dessay class. What do these have? 2 8-inch guns. And a very light belt. Well, I would want to get up close, but they do have a large collection of 7-inch guns. Let's do a quick double check. Yeah, I don't have quite enough secondaries to really safely get close, especially against 2 of them. So we'll try and keep the range relatively open here. And how are we doing on speed? Okay, so they do have faster speed than me. That could be a potential problem. And then they have a large collection of these Espignol class with 3-inch and 2-inch guns. Well, our Jed class can easily kick the stuffing out of that, so I'm going to order a flotilla attack. Flotilla attack. There we go. Alright, and here we go. Okay, so we are starting to score some hits. We are bouncing all of their hits, so that's very good so far. Looks like our destroyers are going in. Outstanding. And then they changed their minds. How unfortunate. Well, I have a feeling that this fight is not going to go too well for me. We do have the material superiority, but they have a vast numerical advantage. That said, the enemy does appear to be pushing themselves into a corner. Hopefully I can take advantage of that, and maybe even push home the advantage with destroyers. Destroyer test, sights unknown. No, it's just the formation following behind us. I'm not too worried about that. Looks like our destroyers are starting to get into the fight. So we're starting to see some hits from them. Outstanding. Alright, quick double check of our hit chance. Still got plenty of ammunition. Let's take a look at our accuracy report. Small salvo. That is unfortunate. All the more reason to get up to proper dreadnoughts with a full broadside. Small salvo means we're not firing enough shells to get a good spotting report. So 2 twin turrets is just not enough. Target aspect ratio, yep, they are turning around, so that makes sense. Tech level, yep, not enough technologies unlocked. Target is turning, yep, I concur. And firing ship damage and sea state. Ooh. How are we doing? We've taken a fair number of medium hits. Yeah, not great. Well, they are turning around, so I'm going to turn around as well, and we're going to try and keep them trapped in this particular area. And hopefully my destroyers can push home the advantage. Why are you targeting a destroyer? That is quite foolish. Alright. We've got more enemy ships coming up from the south. While I think I'm doing more damage to them, they're about to get a lot of reinforcements, and I don't like that, so I think we're going to have to retreat. It is not good to disengage from battle, but it is worse to lose your ship. Alright, looks like that enemy group is confused, so we're going to turn back in and re-engage. There we go. Now we're starting to get some hits. Oh yeah, look at those 9-inch gun hits come in. That's beautiful. Alright, keep it up. Less than 50% ammo remaining. That's fine, that's fine. Just keep on dropping heavy shells on them, and hopefully they'll start to hit. Alright, we're starting to see some 6-inch hits as well, so that's good. We'll even push in a little bit closer. Maybe start slinging some armor piercing at them. Yeah, they did not like that. So they are turning away. And I wish my destroyers would engage again. They're just zipping around in the background. Alright, well, we'll call off the flotilla attack and maybe they'll reform. Looks like the enemy light cruisers are retreating. And once again, I can push up close. Do some damage to these armored cruisers. Oh, they've turned around. Interesting. No idea what they're doing there, but we're still seeing hits, plenty of hits. And they might end up engaging with those light cruisers. Hopefully not, but for right now, we're doing damage, and I'm going to keep on pushing that. Where on earth are my destroyers? They are lagging so far behind. Oop, okay, time to break off. I don't like that. Destroyers on a torpedo attack. That's bad. So we'll disengage from there, spoil their attack, and then we can re-engage. Uh-oh. Hogue's rudder damaged. No! We need to reduce speed to get that rudder repaired. There we go. Rudder repaired. Pick it back up to cruise speed. Give me a chance to clean grates. And we'll follow them around. Still got plenty of day. Let's see. All systems repaired. We do have some minor flooding there, so that's not good. But overall, I think we have the advantage. I've slowed down to cruise to try and give my stokers a chance to rest and clean grates, and hopefully that'll happen. We shall see. Meanwhile, continue pushing north. We may be able to trap them a second time. These poor Frenchies, they have no idea what they're in for. We'll pick up the game speed a little bit more. We'll keep them cut off from their home base. And so far I haven't seen any reports or panic from the transports in the area or the patrol ships, so it looks like we are keeping these poor Frenchies contained quite effectively. And honestly, that's all that we can really ask for against a superior enemy like this. We've got 200 minutes left. The enemy is cruising along the coast, but they don't really have a whole lot left to do. We are running low on ammunition, but sunset is coming. As soon as the sun goes down, then we can turn for home. pick up more ammunition, and resume the fight in the morning. Who knows, maybe I'll even be able to chase them into the coastal battery. Alright, there goes the sunset. Alright, so I'm seeing splashes, but I don't think we're actually shooting. We may be targeting and tracking them with our rangefinders and such, but I don't think it's actually doing a whole lot. Let's see, how are we doing on secondary ammunition? Yeah, not great. And what about tertiaries? Again, yeah, not great. Not great at all. Outstanding hit percentages, though. Very good gunnery for ships this early in the game. But I do believe it is time to call it. So we'll just patrol back and forth across this point, and hopefully we can force them into the coastal battery. If that. We'll see. But we'll come around the point here and head for Plymouth. Alright, and that is the end of the battle. Alright, so we took medium damage. We inflicted medium damage on them, and some decent damage on the other cruiser as well. No ship sunk, but they did not sink anything. We didn't lose anything. Outstanding. Let's see what kind of results we were getting by shooting them. So real quick, the French cruiser Pothau. Strange French names there. Alright, let's take a look. So this was the ship that we were engaging against. Oh my, so many 9-inch gun hits. Let's see how they were doing. Actually, that was also 6-inch gun hits. Alright, so we've got some 6-inch hits. Penetrating superstructure at 6,000 yards. Bounced off belt extended, bounced off belt. Penetrated superstructure, so we're still easily doing damage to superstructure, that's good. Failing to penetrate belt at long range, so that's expected. We've got some 6-inch hits, more superstructure hits, so as expected, the 6-inch are failing to go through. Alright, and then 9-inch. Hitting belt extended, penetrating. Alright, so that's definitely doing some damage there. 9-inch actually hit the deck. Wow. Of course, it failed to penetrate because he has a very poor deck penetration at this point in time. Nine-inch hull hit, general hull hit, so that did some damage. 6-inch superstructure failed to penetrate on belt extended. Okay, that's expected. Perforated uptakes with a 9-inch, outstanding. Hull pass-through hit. Ew, that means our armor piercing is not exploding when it's supposed to, so that's not great. Got some 6-inch hull hit, 4-inch hull hit. Hoo-yah. Getting some of those tertiaries in the action. I approve. 9-inch engine room hit. Failed to penetrate at 4,000 yards. Near miss. Penetrated belt extended, but failed to penetrate belt. So I think our actual practice armor penetration is significantly lower than the listed. But it is still definitely worth slinging those armor-piercing shells, because they do penetrate belt extended, which does a lot of flooding damage. So we've got more 6-inch hits, more 6-inch hits. Looks like most of the damage was from 6-inch. Lots of hull hits, lots of engine room hits. There's a 9-inch hit. There's more belt extended hits. Still failing to penetrate main belt, so that's not great. There we go. Oh, no, that's superstructure hit, belt extended, okay. So yeah, that makes sense. 6-inch hull hit, belt extended. Oh, so that did penetrate. Right around 4,000 yards seems to be the ideal engagement range. Certainly that's where we were engaging. Hull hit. Ooh, we damaged fire control. Outstanding. Alright, we'll take a quick look at how the Hogue held up. So they were slinging 8-inch and 7-inch shells. Looks like those were mostly bouncing off. We've got a belt extended penetration at 6,000 yards from an 8-inch. Okay, not great, but that is a thing that happens. We got a hull hit, didn't do much. Engine room hit deck. Oh, that's a 4-inch. Okay, yeah, and they are clearly failing to penetrate my armor because it is much, much heavier. Outstanding, outstanding. Okay, they are able to go through secondary battery at 4,000 yards because that's 3 inches. That makes sense. Okay, but overall, looks like the heavier armor overall was definitely showing, and I don't see any 7-inch penetrations. Multiple hull hits, turret hits, but those 7-inchers just failed to do anything. So yeah. Oh, wait, here we go. At close range, those 7-inchers were punching belt extended. Okay, but they didn't do much. Oh, wow, we really ran down the ammunition there. Outstanding. Good shooting, fellows. We'll call that a glorious victory and move on to the next event. Ooh. Well, this is interesting. We've just unlocked the testing tank for hull form. Reduces engine horsepower requirements. So one of the interesting things about this game is that it models the non-linear power requirements for speed. So let's say we wanted to design a dreadnought battleship, or, well, any sort of battleship. We'll notice that the amount of tonnage required to get a certain speed changes. So from 17 to 18 knots, that's a 300-ton change. From 18 to 19 knots, that's a 200-ton change. Then we go up to 19 to 20, that's 400 tons. And the more you go up, the more tonnage is required to hit your speed. However, once you get low enough, small changes do not have a significant effect. So going from 12 to 13 knots is basically a negligible change in power and weight requirements. So it is a nonlinear curve, and at some point there is a break point where the amount of power goes up significantly. That testing tank for hull form changes where that breakpoint is, and it changes the curves for how much power is required to hit your certain speed. This makes larger, faster ships more cost-effective, so you can afford to build larger ships at higher speeds for the same price as what you were previously doing. So when previously a fleet speed effectively was most efficient at around between 17 and 19 knots, and we built our ships at 18 knots, right in the middle of that. Now it's up more between 20 and 22 knots-ish. So my current design of dreadnoughts, the Camperdown class, are at 21 knots, but I had to burn extra tonnage in order to get these ships up to speed because I didn't have that testing tank. Now that I have the testing tank, if I were to redesign these, well, it's too late now, they're already under construction, but if I were to redesign these, there would be a significant weight savings in terms of how much power is required to get these ships up to speed. All right, let's move on. So we've unlocked a number of additional submarine technologies, so I'm actually going to build a couple more submarines just to take advantage of those. So we'll build a few more submarines. Could never have, not that they're a proper way to fight a war, but even the British have to investigate them so we can figure out how to deal with them in the future. Alright, and let's see how these are going. Now, last turn, France had a lot of ships in West Africa. Let's see where they've ended up at. Okay, so it looks like France is pulling most of their battleships back. So those ships that were in West Africa have mostly headed home. How are things looking in the Med? I think I can pull those battleships back. Oh yes, France is most definitely calling all of its ships back home. So we can concentrate forces in the... We can call all of our forces back and concentrate them in Northern Europe. Alright. So we're still going to let the Anson head out, but I'm going to call back the Rodney. Bring that back to Northern Europe to help maintain the blockade. Yep, Hogue has a little bit of repairs they've got to do, as expected. We have 69 points in the Mediterranean. Nice. Alright, we're going to let those keep going. France does not have much in there, so I'm going to call the armored cruisers back as well. So we'll pull the Andromeda and Niobe back to Northern Europe. Alright, and next turn. Enemy coastal raid. Yeah, I don't really want to fight this one, so I'm going to pass on that. Convoy defense, large battle. Intriguing. Off the coast of Ireland. Well, I accept. And it looks like the French have accepted as well. This is going to be a fairly large battle. Alright, well, we're almost to 40 minutes, so I think we're going to call this fight to a close right here. Until next time, Katori87, signing out.